Hi, it's David Hendley from Old Farmhouse Pottery coming to you from East Texas. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at Clay Festival this year. For this little video that I'm doing, I wanted to show you one of the biggest projects I did this year that I will not be bringing to the Clay Festival because it's installed in my house. It's the new floor that I made. We needed a new floor for our utility room, so I decided to extrude the tiles. I didn't want glazed tiles because they can become a little slippery, so I made these tiles with just the raw clay showing. To make it interesting, I layered different colors of clay into the extruder in different patterns, and then when I extruded, this is what I came up with. So let's go over to the pottery shop and I'll show you how I set this up and how I made these tiles. Okay, so let's take a look at how I made those extruded floor tiles. Here's what the tile looks like after it's made and fired before it's installed. You can see it has these channels in the back. That's to help with adhesion. When you lay the tile, it lets the adhesive get up in there and hold the tile better. Now let's take a look at the extruder die. This is made out of aluminum and backed by plywood. Now the special feature of this die is it has this wire stretched here. That's because if you extrude colored clay in the extruder, it will just kind of push the colors together and smooth it out, and you'll end up with just kind of a gray color all over. You won't see the striations in the colors of clay. For that to be revealed, you have to cut a slice off of the clay, and then you'll see those striations. So that's what the wire does. So basically, this side goes up, the clay is pushed through the die, and then right after it's shaped, this wire cuts a thin slice off the top of the extruded clay. So it's really important, and it makes a big difference how you lay those colors of clay into the barrel of the extruder before you start extruding. So let's get started and do that. I've got a couple of pugs of clay here. I've got my regular stoneware clay and a porcelain clay, and we're going to layer these together. I'm going to cut thin slices off of here through both pugs. I made a lot of these tiles, so I got some experience on what different patterns of layering the clay does. So we'll just try a couple of these here. So I'm layering these, one white and then one stoneware. And I'm going to make another stack like that. I'm not worried if some of these slices are thicker and some of them are thinner. It's all just a random pattern is what we want anyway. So this is going to go in the extruder like that. And this one, I'm going to put the other direction. So I'm going to shape it so it's going this way. So basically this stack has horizontal stack, and this stack has vertical stack. Okay, let's install our die and then insert the clay into the extruder. This is my homemade extruder. I made this extruder way back in the 1970s, so almost 50 years ago, and I've been using it all these years, gotten lots of good use out of it. Most extruders are attached to the wall, but I found this already built steel table at the scrap metal yard and thought, you know, that'd be a good way to mount my extruder. So that's how it's mounted. The good thing about this is if I go around and do extruder workshops, I can take this with me and take my extruder with me. All right, let's see what we get. It's not unusual for the clay to go off to the side when it first starts coming out. So no bother, we'll just cut that off once we get it out of the extruder and recycle that clay for the next batch. Now this is the fun part where we can remove this top strip of clay and it will reveal what our tile's going to look like. That's the pattern that we got. Same pattern on what will become the tile. Let's try another one. And there's what that one looks like. Now, these will just sit here to dry for a while before I try to cut square off the end and smooth the edges and things like that. Now, I have tried this technique also a little bit to make some pottery. So here's some examples of that. Here's a square vase. And to make this, I made the extruder die so the walls were a little thicker than usual. And then after it was extruded, I laid it on the table, and using this as a guide, I cut off a thin slice on all four sides to reveal the pattern of the colored clays. Now this piece, with these curves in it, there's no way to cut the clay to reveal the pattern. So what I had to do was just let it get bone dry and then sit in a chair outside with a dust mask and slowly sand away the clay to reveal the pattern of the colored clay. It's kind of a pain. It took a good 10 minutes to do that, but the result is pretty cool to see that pattern in the clay. All right, well, I hope this gave you some ideas of some things you might like to try. Looking forward to seeing you at Clay Festival.